WASHINGTONAP. After months of pleading from Ukraine, the Biden administration agreed to deploy the country its most deadly armored vehicles, the Abrams tanks, earlier this year. However, with Ukraine preparing for a spring counteroffensive in its war with Russia, these formidable tanks will be months away from hitting the battlefield. The Abrams tanks will not be used in the initial spring attack. Because the tanks are being modified, important technology that could fall into the hands of Russian soldiers is being removed. It is an essential precaution in case the Russians seize one of the vehicles and use it for intelligence purposes, according to U.S. officials and military experts. It may or may not present opportunities for Russia to test it and look for vulnerabilities, said Colin Smith, a Russian military analyst at the nonpartisan RAND Corps. As with other armaments, the United States sends stripped-down copies of its tanks to foreign governments. The Pentagon saves its most advanced capabilities for U.S. troops. Officials and experts argue that sending Abrams tanks to Ukraine complicates the possibility of one falling into Russian hands on the battlefield. Developed during the Cold War and put to the test in Iraq, Abrams tanks are swift, powerful, and heavily armored. The Abrams, which weighs around 70 tons, was designed during the Cold War, and the first tanks were delivered to the Army in 1980. They saw battle for the first time in 1991, during Operation Desert Storm in Iraq. The tanks are painted green for this conflict, a departure from the desert tan seen after decades of fighting in the Middle East. This time, armor protection on the more advanced versions of the tanks is a major worry, according to Smith. Unlike the Reaper drone that Russian pilots shot down over the Black Sea last month, which broke up and sank in deep water, a damaged tank might be salvaged mostly intact. According to two U.S. officials who were not authorized to speak publicly about the matter, the lower-tech tanks that Ukraine would receive will not contain sensitive components that the Russians can exploit. Both tanks have the same powerful 120mm cannon. However, the M1A2 has more advanced features such as aiming systems. After months of demands, the Pentagon confirmed plans to supply 31 Abrams M1A2 tanks to Ukraine in January. They seek modern armor to reclaim land that Russia has captured since its invasion began in February 2022. A Ukrainian offensive is likely to start within the next several weeks.